Man, let's get into it. The Raiders actually did it. They actually traded Maxx Crosby, man, and heartbroken. All I could say right now, first thoughts, because this was our franchise guy, the player that was supposed to stick with us forever until he retired. No blaming Max or nothing bad is to say about him. He deserves to go to a team like the Baltimore Ravens because he wants to play in those big games like he talked about. And the way the Raiders are going right now, full rebuild mode in effect with this trade officially. We're getting 2 first round picks back, the 14 overall, I believe, this coming up draft. And wherever the Baltimore Ravens end up next year, we're going to take that first round pick as well, which I believe is going to be probably anywhere between 20 and the 32nd overall pick. With that being said, let's get into it. Was this the right move? Yes and no. Yes, on the standpoint of the business side, it makes sense on the side of this because you have a team like the Raiders rebuilding, going with a new head coach, almost a new regime. General manager Spytek Burley came in last year. Tom Brady Burley came in a couple years ago. Clint Kubiak, new head coach this year. Mark Davis, the owner, and we have other people around this team. Richard Seymour, Charles Woodson now, and even Jim Gray. So those are kind of the things you got to think about. The Raiders want to take this new direction, and we have massive holes on both sides of the ball. Offense, offensive line, receiver, quarterback position. Defense, it's pretty much everything now with Maxx Crosby being gone. Corner, middle linebacker, defensive line, secondary, everything. And with this, we now have a total of 4 picks in the next 2 drafts, I believe. Yes, we do. Our own first, second next year, and then Baltimore's first for this year and next year. Maxx Crosby still is, in my eyes, the best defensive player in the NFL because you don't get that kind of production each down. When he could play, he's out there every single snap, affecting every single play. He was on a bad defense for these past 9 years, I'll say. Maybe the only good defense that was on, maybe the best one was that playoff run, but even then, in 2021, it was still a little shaky. Triple team, double team, it didn't matter. Max was on the attack, man. Getting after the quarterback, stopping the run. And that's one of the big keys. He was good in the pass game and he was good in the run game. I don't know where people are coming from. Oh, he's not this, he's not that. He's only a good pass rusher. No. Could stop the run, could get after the quarterback, and just a smart player. But this is where the side ice, I'm going to say that this was not the right move because Maxx Crosby is the shield. And it's true that nothing's above the shield. Al Davis said that. His son, Mark Davis, said that. And numerous players, both in the Hall of Fame, Raider legends as well, have said that. And all the players in between. Maxx Crosby was the face of this franchise, at least for the last, I could say, 5 years. Part of that included with Derek Carr. But when he got released, it was officially the Maxx Crosby show in Las Vegas. Crosby, you can't replace a player like him. You're not going to find a player like Maxx Crosby. His work ethic, his ability to make players around him better, the standard that he sets, it's way up here. Locker room, on the field, off the field, everything. Everything. You want every player to come in and be a Maxx Crosby. And I think that's where it's going to hurt us. That leadership, especially with the team that's going to be coming, probably very young, very young. It just hurts because now the problem with the Raiders over the last few years in free agency is true. They do not re-sign their players. They do not bring players that they drafted back on a second contract. We've seen it with Josh Jacobs. We've seen it with Travion Mogan this offseason. We've seen it even with free agents like Robert Spillane, Chason, who went on to have great years last year. We've seen it all. And now with this one, and that's just to name a few, and now with this one, Maxx Crosby, it could be saying something for free agents or potential free agents for the Raiders to attack this offseason, which starts actually not even this offseason. It's really going to start on Monday. But this is big one. It hurts, but I understand on both sides. Like I said, I don't believe Maxx Crosby wanted to be gone from Las Vegas. He didn't want to. He wanted to remain a Raider. But now Mark Davis, I think he's listening more to Tom Brady, John Spytek, Clint Kubiak. I believe this is one of those moves where it's John Spytek, Tom Brady, Clint Kubiak. And you can't say it's a wrong move because on one side you have a player. He wants to play in the big games. He wants to be in the playoffs. He wants to compete for a Super Bowl. That's the whole goal of this. He is 29 years old, which I still think it's young in today's age NFL. Outside of the recent knee injuries, I won't even say problems, knee procedures, he's been relative healthy. He's been out there every snap when he can. And he's just a reliable player. You're not going to find another player like Maxx Crosby. From the start to the finish, he was all hands on deck. From practice, game day, even, oh my goodness, even in the off season, man, putting that work in. And he was still in the building every day this offseason, which is surprising. Mark Davis probably didn't want to move on from this. But like I said, football, business move. Listen to the people he brought in, which they're not wrong, you know. But the thing is, I believe we could have got more for him. To trade him to the Ravens and somehow not get Lamar Jackson back is like crazy to me right now. Even though they probably wouldn't have given up Jackson. Still, we got 2 first-round picks. 14's a good one. I said anything in the top 15. That's solid. But next year, I believe it's going to be late first-round pick. And those usually, of course, are not as good as being on top 15 or top 10 of the draft. Maxx Crosby, thank you for everything. You meant everything to the Raider Nation, to Raider fans all over. Played the game like it was your last every time you stepped out on the field. Your loyalty is huge, and huge, your loyalty, man. You stuck this one out for 9 years, and just hope you go to a situation where you could compete in those big games, and hopefully, you never know. His contract ends a couple years from now. Maybe the Raiders are good by then, making a playoff push or being rising up to a contender. Who knows? Maybe come back. Pull a Charles Woodson even when you want to come back at the end of your career. And that's what it feels right now. It feels like when Charles Woodson didn't come back the first time with the Raiders, when they didn't bring him back and he went to Green Bay, that's what the feeling is right now. The feeling is also when Derek Carr got released, the way he did, that's the feeling right now. Probably the tuck rule, the feeling right now. But the thing is, it makes sense. Right now, probably a bunch of emotions going on and everything, but we are set up nice for the future. Maybe this sting's a little less when we draft Mendoza next month. We see what the Raiders do in free agency this coming up week. We see what this turnaround's all about, because this is not a 1-2 year turnaround. This is from now to 5 years from now. See the team we build and see if we could bring it up, man. Bring it up and be that team that our late great people seen back in the day when they were successful, even in the early 2000s, man. What I remember a little bit of. Hasn't been good for the Raiders last 2 decades plus. Only 2 playoff appearances since 2003 or that Super Bowl that we went to in 2002. Man, this one hurts. It makes sense. And now we're going to see what the Raiders do, because history tells us it don't matter what pick we have. We don't pick the right guys. We don't sign those guys if they hit. And just the history with the draft and all that, we haven't been good. But I believe now the Raiders move forward, go after Lindenbaum from the Ravens, the center. That's the biggest piece we need. I'll throw all the money we can at him, give him extra just to bring him in. But like I said, does he want to come in? Does he want to play for the silver and black now? Who knows? But that's the biggest free agent I want to go after. Now we got the extra pick, and who knows? Maybe we trade up or even trade down that pick this year and accumulate more picks. I could see potential where we move up in the draft for a defensive player with that 14th overall pick, and then we throw something like the next year's first round pick to move up in the top 5 or something like that. Or we could sit back, wait, see if some players fall that, maybe Spytek Brady after we pick Mendoza, and go with that 14th overall pick. Guys that really interested me. I mean, they're like the best of the best when it comes to this year's draft. Reese, Ohio State, and even Caleb Downs, safety. I think Downs could even play linebacker at some point. He's that bridge, but to have him back there, oh my goodness. He's a great player in college, and I think that's going to translate to the NFL. with Reese, he's just a freak of nature, man. But one thing we got to make sure we got to hit on these draft picks. Like I said, no one's going to be another Maxx Crosby. But if we could get two great players in the future, or, prospects right now, and build them up to the future, we can make the overall team better. And it is true that now in today's NFL, you can't win with one player, especially on the defensive side of things. And we've seen that Maxx Crosby had great games. Boom, we still lose. Maxx Crosby has this many sacks in the game. Boom, we still lose. And now we let him free. We let him go where he wants to be, hopefully, because I still don't think he wanted to be traded. I'm going to say that until he comes out and says this was works in the background or something like that, where he's like, okay, it made sense for both sides. And it's going to be interesting once he puts out that statement, thanking the fans and thanking, Oakland and Las Vegas. And get this, now Colton Miller, I believe, is officially the last Oakland Raider. It was him first, and then Maxx Crosby the draft after, 18 and 19. And man, it just sucks. It just sucks, man. But we're going to roll the dice. Nothing's bigger than the shield. Nothing's bigger than shield. At some point, what's going to happen? I thought that, but I thought we're at least going to get another, at least half a year more of Maxx Crosby, I believe, where he was going to let it play out this year coming up and see what the Raiders do with the moves, what the Raiders do in the draft, and potentially what the Raiders could have done if they had him next year, going into next year, and see how those first 8 weeks, 6 to 8, 10 weeks go, and then the trading deadline. And I thought if we're going to trade him, it was going to be there at the trading deadline if we're not good next year. Now, who knows, man? Who knows what we bring in? The thing is, we have the resources to do it. We have the picks. We have the draft capital. We have the money, cap space now. And people don't get this. Crosby was worth more than 2 first rounds, even though we didn't get more than that, because he's in his prime. He gets better every year. He's a championship caliber player. He's there every down. But the contract, man, the contract that he's on, very team friendly. He's making almost probably 15 million less than Michael Parsons is making. He's not nearly in that ballpark, man. Nearly. And now probably a free agent like Trey Hendrickson's going to make more than him. And I hope the Raiders don't go after him and sign it, because that's not going to be the pick. I mean, that's not going to be worth it spending the money why go after Hendrickson if you had Crosby? But that's why he was worth more than 3. People like to compare it to other situations like Khalil Mack and even Michael Parsons' situation. No, those were 2 completely separate things. Those 2 players were looking to get paid, which they deserved and earned. They were looking for that next contract. They didn't want out. Like Crosby said, listen to me, I don't want out, I want to remain a Raider. It still remains to be seen if that was the case. But I believe Maxx Crosby, like he said, believe him until something comes out. And now it has. But Parsons, Khalil Mack, whole different situation. The Raiders didn't want to play Mack. They eventually got 2 first-round picks. Look what those turned into. The only good picks out of those in the first round was Josh Jacobs. Parsons wanted to get paid too. Jerry Jones didn't want him. So, requested a trade. Max was under contract team friendly. And I believe whatever we could have done this, or whatever potentially we're going to do this offseason, we could have done with Max and even elevated now. But you can't replace the leader, the presence, the standard he is in that Raiders building, that organization. He's going to go down as one of the greatest Raiders of all time. And now we wait to see what we do and if it was worth it or not. We're not going to know that until the picks come in and we develop, or they're picks that we wasted again. We're not going to know. I just hope Maxx Crosby, once again, thank you for everything. Great Raider, loyalty, your heart, you pour your soul into this. Everything from day one. And I'm glad we picked you out of Eastern Michigan, fourth round overall pick in 2019. And you came in with fire, man, fire. And the way Gruden talks about you, the way previous coaches have talked about you, man, you're a beast, man. I hope you're happy in Baltimore. I hope that's where you wanted to go. And I hope I see you playing those big games, because we all wanted that here for the Raiders. And now you get to do it elsewhere. And I just want to thank you for everything you meant to Las Vegas, everything you meant to the Raiders organization. And you're probably still going to be here, living here, offseason maybe. And who knows, maybe you come back. Maybe you come back in a couple years. We never know. Or maybe the deal falls through. maybe the deal falls through. A lot of people are hoping for that, but I think it's pretty much done. He just have to clear a physical, which maybe he might not because of his surgery, but that's not going to stop this deal from going through. Baltimore is win now mode, and that's what they're going to do. Now they have no excuses to go all the way and win it all. And we're going to see next year, on Baltimore's side. But for the Raiders, they officially traded Maxx Crosby to the Baltimore Ravens for 2 first-round picks. And now we move on to next month's draft. But first, we got to see what free agency moves we make this Monday coming up. And it becomes official on Wednesday. And that's going to set up the draft for most of the teams. Mendoza going number 1 overall to the Raiders. We'll see from there. Once again, God bless. Thanks for watching. And you guys have a great one. Peace.